All right. Today we have Willie Macc. Willie Macc, give me a short bio of who you are. Start with where you're from, what your childhood was like, and then whatever you want to share, if it's personal or professional.
Willie Macc, born William McMiller, Searcy, Arkansas. St. Louis is where I was raised. But I moved to Los Angeles in 2004. I didn't come to, it's funny, I didn't come to LA to end up being an actor or comedian or anything like that. I was one of those guys I came to LA chasing a female that I was so in love with at the time. You couldn't tell me nothing about her. She wanted to be a model. She was a model here in St. Louis, and then she was like, "I'm moving to LA to be a real model." And then she finds, and I'm like, "Well, I'm coming with you because you the one. What you gonna tell a 19-year-old Willie that's in love?" And so I come out here with her, and or come out to LA with her, and then she quickly finds out being a St. Louis model and an LA model are two different models, especially back then. Because when she was, even though she was a size 10, like to people from where we're from, sometimes they look like, oh, you need to put some meat on your bones. But then you go to LA and they like, you need to be a size zero max. And it was like, what? And so while I was out there, I needed money. And what you do when you need money, when you go to LA, especially when you don't really know anything, you do background work. Because for those that don't know what background work is, the people that just walk behind in TV shows and in movies, no lines, just as my son calls them, NPCs, non-playable characters, just folks that just be out there in the background. No one interacts with them or nothing. So I did background work 1 year on the Bernie Mac show, and Kalita Smith, who was playing Bernie Mac's wife. Now, if you remember me from College Hill, I used to have a really big afro. I had a big old afro, and nobody was doing afros in LA. And so Kalita Smith, like I said, who was playing Bernie Mac's wife on the show, she says, "Where are you from? You look super country." She's like, "Nobody's wearing afros." I was like, "Oh, I'm from St. Louis." And she's like, "Oh, my assistant's from St. Louis." So she brings over her assistant. We find out we go to the same high schools. And then as we're talking, Bernie Mac comes out and he's like, "Who's this melted milk dud y'all talking to?" And those days working with Bernie Mac was one of the craziest life-changing experiences for me, because here's Bernie Mac, who is Bernie Mac, talking to an NPC, and it's like that's I was like, whatever this guy does, I want to learn how to do. And that's kind of how I started my journey into just comedy, into acting, as I was learning just who he was. 'Cause I just, like I said, I came out here chasing a female. I went to college, and I was going. I went to like one of these like dry schools. Now, while I'm there, still needing money, I end up doing this show called "So You Want to Date My Sister." It never goes to TV. It was where these guys were competing to date this chick. So in order to win over her love, you had to do these competitions with their brothers. One brother was a boxer, and so you had to go into the boxing ring with the brother. The other one was like this, and so whatever. So we was competing to date this guy, these brother's sister. And as I'm doing it, I'm goofy, I'm playful or whatever. And the guy that was the executive producer of it, his name was Michael McCorn. He says, "You're a funny dude. I'm executive producing this other show that I'm doing with my sister called College Hill. Now, if you interested in it, let me know." And I'm like, "Of course I know what College Hill is. The girl that I moved out here for, she loved College Hill." So this is an interesting story, and I told this for the first time yesterday to my friend, who her mind was just blown by this. So I was like, "All right, yeah, I'm down to do it." He's like, "If you can go in and make my sister laugh, you're pretty much a guarantee to go into the show." I'm like, "Who's your sister?" "Tracey Edmonds." Now, Tracey Edmonds is Babyface ex-wife, and at this time, she was about to be married to Eddie Murphy. And so she had this little thing for comedians at the time. Like most powerful women have a thing for comedians. If you look up the stories of Eddie Murphy with Whitney Houston, or you look at Pete Davidson and Kim Kardashian, like there's something about comedians that these women just, we make them laugh and we're supposedly just happy all the time, even though most of us have like dark brains and all of this other stuff. But what they see on TV and what they see on the stage is like, they're jokey and they're laughy, and comedians are a little bit of rock stars, just a little bit. Anyways, so I go on, I end up booking the show. Now, a couple interesting things about this that I found out. One of them I found out maybe just even like a few years ago. I wasn't the first choice to be on College Hill. So Ray Cunningham made it popular to be, he was the first openly gay person on TV, especially on Black TV. And so they was trying to build on his popularity. So they were actually, it was between me and this other gay guy. And so they were like, well, we're going to the islands and we don't know how safe that would be. So they went with the second choice, which is also the best choice, me. And so I get the email, and now they're like, Willie, you're gonna leave in 2 weeks. I'm like, cool. I tell my girl at the time, I was like, hey, I'm about to do it. She was like, I don't want you to do College Hill. And I was like, what? She's like, I don't want you to do it because I know that you're going to end up getting a lot of groupies and there's going to be a lot of women, and the fame is just going to be a lot for me to handle when you become Willie Macc from College Hill. She's like, you're going to have to choose between me and College Hill. Now, this is the girl that I moved out here for so she could live her dreams. And now I'm finding out that the funnier you are in LA, the more money you can make, the more likable you are just by being me, by being funny. And now I got to make this decision. Obviously, y'all see what decision I ended up making. So a week before I'm about to leave, I get a call from Sean. Sean Rankin was our executive producer. He gets a call and he's mad, and he's like, what the hell, Willie? What's wrong with you? Why you don't want to do the show no more? Like he's flipping out. And I'm like, Sean, chill. I'm like, what are you talking about? He said, I got your email saying that you don't want to do the show no more and that this is your final decision. Don't call you anymore. Don't contact you. I'm like, Sean, I don't know what you're talking about. I never sent this email. He said, I'm like, send it to me. He sends it to me. And I knew it was from the chick that I was dating at the time, who went into my emails, found the emails from College Hill, and emailed everybody saying, I don't want to do the show no more. And the only reason I knew it was her was because she signed the email Willie McMiller. I'm like, I don't even call myself Willie McMiller. Right. So I approach her about it. I'm like, hey, yo, did you do this? She's like, no, it wasn't me. I'm like, then who else sent this email saying I don't want to be on College Hill? Who went into my email addresses? Anyways, we end up breaking up. I end up being on College Hill. And that is just the short beginning and bio of my life. And then College Hill was also my introduction to doing stand-up. Because after we got done filming College Hill, people, what they do to a lot of these when we was doing radio interviews, they gave them all screeners. They gave them the episodes ahead of time. And so people was like, man, you were hilarious on that show. We saw that you and JT was doing a comedy show or a little show together. Tell us a joke. Now, I never told a joke before. I just was goofy. I was just doing stuff and just being me. And so I was like, I don't have a joke. And so I wrote my very first joke. My very first joke I've ever written was because of College Hill was I'm new to Los Angeles, and since I've been out here, I was shot at 3 times. My car was broken into, and my place was robbed twice. But I finally got that taken care of, and I broke up with that girl. Like that was my very first joke I ever wrote.